Hello everyone, it's me, Valerie from Stampin' with Valerie. I hope you're having a great Wednesday. I am. And I want to thank you for joining me for One Card Wonder Wednesday. I'm going to get my video pulled up here so we can share it. This is the third time I've tried to go on live, so hopefully I'm actually live right now and I'm not just talking to myself because it's not letting me pull the video up here. There we go. Let me share. So hopefully you are getting ready for Halloween already, right? I mean, I know it's only September, but I'm sure your kids are wanting their costumes, and maybe if you go to parties, maybe you're thinking about what costumes you want. So I can see my video's a little far away and it might be lagging. Hopefully this works. I'm just gonna keep going and see what happens. So I'm going to be using this Celebration Tidings stamp set, and all I'm going to be using from this are two stamps, this Happy Haunting and then this gorgeous little spiderweb filigree that's at the top. I think it's really, really adorable. And we're going to be making this fantastic card. How gorgeous is this? We're going to do some sponging, we are going to do some fussy cutting, and it's going to be a good time. So I'm going to set this aside. The ink colors we're going to use are Memento, because obviously we need black. It's a Halloween card. We're going to be using Daffodil Delight, Cajun Craze, and Mango Melody. And I have an entire pile of paper here for us to get started with. Now, the Designer Series paper is from the Magic in This Night Designer Series paperback. And as you can see, I have a lot of the different pieces already cut apart because I have used a ton of this paper already. So I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. We're going to be focusing on some of these bats as well. So I'm just going to set those here to the side. We've got, this is for our sentiment. Now apparently I got a little overzealous the other day when I was planning this card, and I already punched my 2-inch circle from here. So I'm not going to cut another piece of paper. We're just going to use this one. This piece is 3.5 by 4 3/4, and then we have a piece of Whisper White that's going to fit just underneath it. It's just a little bit smaller, so it's 3.25 by 4.5. That's what we're going to do our sponging on. And then we've got some layers. We're going to layer on some basic black, so this is just a tiny bit bigger. This is 3 5/8 by 4 7/8. Then we have one more piece of Designer Series paper. Look at that, isn't that gorgeous with those roses with that black and Cajun Craze, and there are some spider webs on there. I think that's all, just flowers and spider webs is what I see on there. And then on the back, it's just a basic black and Whisper White striped. So you could choose either side, but because most of it's gonna be covered, I chose just to use the floral side. Actually, it looks like I might have cut this piece a little too small. Oh no, it's gonna just barely show. All right, anyway, and then we've got another piece of basic black to go on the back of that. So we're going to start with our sponging. So we're gonna start with the lightest color first, and that's our Daffodil Delight. When you're doing sponging, always try to start with your lightest color first, just so you don't get different colors mixed in on your little sponge daubers or your sponges. Now look, I have used this one so many times, I'm gonna have to retire it pretty soon. It's looking pretty ragged. So start off from your paper, and then you can start on your paper. And I'm just gonna do just this one little corner because that's where everything's gonna be seen, is over here in this corner. So that's all for that right now. We'll just set that aside. We're gonna use that a little bit later. We'll go to our next darker color, which is Mango Melody. And right now Facebook is saying my video has an error loading, so hopefully I will be able to get this video on here later. So then just start sponging that little bit darker color, and you can see how it's got a little bit more orange in it. And it's a little bit darker than that Daffodil Delight. And then our third color will be the Cajun Craze. Now this is what really gives it that darker color. On the edge is this Cajun Craze. Look how beautiful that is. And then when you sponge it up here and then you go over that Mango Melody just a little bit, you can see how it actually gives us some extra color in there going over that Mango Melody. And then we'll just set that one off this way. That way I'm not sticking my fingers in any of this. All right, so next, just grab that piece of Designer Series paper. Now I use the bats, the one that has the bats on the front. On the back of it, it has more floral images. But of course, because we're using the bats here, I wanted to use the bats on the front. I am just going to go around this edge. And I know I could just actually go around the edge of that Whisper White, but I'm doing this because we're going to be sticking this to the black paper in just a second anyway. So we might as well, if we have a little bit of extra around the edges, it's not a big deal. Now you just want that colorful moon just within that circle. And then just go around so you have some on that Whisper White. And we go right over that basic black. It's a lot of layering for this card, but it turns out really pretty when you get done. And then we're just gonna go right, see, you hardly have, you just have a tiny little piece of that, but it really pops when you have the black behind it as well. And I tried it with just the one Designer Series paper over the other without putting this black layer in, and it just did not look as pretty. So I had to do it this way because I wanted it to look gorgeous. Flip that back over. Go ahead and give it some more adhesive. Again, you could use your Tombow. If you have Tombow, that's fine. And then you're going to layer that right on this basic black piece. And then your basic black piece is going to go on your Mango Melody card. Now, I'm sorry everyone, I can't see your comments right now because they are not, nothing is popping up on my screen, but I will answer any questions that you have later. And I appreciate you being on here, because I do enjoy having you all come on here. I just wish Facebook wasn't giving me, it keeps saying I don't have good internet connection, but my video started. It's just showing it on my iPad, but when I looked at my phone is still going. So I'm not sure why it's giving me that error. There you have, most of the card is done already, right? Super easy. All right, so the next step is we are going to fussy cut some of these bats. I'm just gonna do two. Now, I love these bats. They're like lace, and so they're really, really pretty on that basic black background with that Whisper White. But we need a small bat and a large bat, and I'm gonna cut them apart like this to start with. And then we're going to go ahead and do some sponging on them. So I used Cajun Craze because I wanted to give them a little bit of color, because I love how they look with that color on them. So for the big one and the small one, just start by putting some Cajun Craze at the top of the bat with your little sponge dauber. And now it really even looks pretty like that. And then for the bottom, do your Mango Melody, and I'm doing this right after I told you not to do your dark color first. I'm doing that right now. I did my dark color first. But I'm not actually going over that Cajun Craze. I'm just kind of adding this to the bottom, so my sponge should be okay when I get done. Just add a little bit of that Mango Melody right to the bottom. And then we're just gonna fussy cut them out. And they're really not that hard to cut out. You just have to, you know, move your paper, obviously, not your scissors. And you've just got those little curves. And now I know not everyone celebrates Halloween or go, you know, trick-or-treating or hands out candy and that kind of thing, but I still love making these cards. I think they're still fun. We hand out candy. We always went trick-or-treating as kids. We took our son trick-or-treating when he was little. So I just think it's a fun holiday for the kids to be able to dress up and do those kind of things. So I've always enjoyed making these cards and sending them to nieces and nephews and that type of thing. And now most of my nieces and nephews are older, and some of them are starting to have kids of their own. So it's like, oh my goodness, I feel like, I don't know, it's strange. It's so weird. And it's like my kid's grown up, he's an adult, he's going to college, you know, it's just, and anyone who's gone through that knows. And if you still have little children, you'll go through it eventually. Just enjoy the time you have with them when they're little, because you really do miss a lot of those moments when they get older. Now, don't get me wrong, now that he's older, it's fun to have an adult conversation with him and talk about the world and different things happening. But anyway, I'm way off topic here. I should be talking about my awesome bats that I've sponged and I'm cutting out. We are going to use some of the mini black dimensionals. If you don't have the black dimensionals, they are fantastic for any of the dark papers or projects that you're using that have dark colors, because they kind of hide themselves. So normally you would, when I put this on a side, you would see those white dimensionals behind there, but because I use the black ones, you really don't see them that much. Let's go ahead and I'm going to set our little bats aside, stamp our sentiment, which is, like I said, happy haunting, and then we're going to fussy cut that out, and we're going to actually stamp it twice, just because when I cut out the happy, which is what I really need, it kind of messes up when I'm trying to cut out haunting. So I stamp it twice just so I can cut happy from one of them and cut the haunting from the other one. Then we'll use some Cajun Craze. And I don't know if you can see this, I'm going to hold it a little bit closer, but I have stamped that little spiderweb filigree right there in Cajun Craze. And you can see it when you're up close, but I'm not sure how well you can see it on camera. Just stamp it right at the bottom in Cajun Craze. And it looks really good. I love how it just gives a little bit of extra something to the card. All right, so let's cut happy first. Happy is super easy because it's literally just straight cuts. And as you can see, that's why I mess it up, because I cut haunting right off from there when I did that. Haunting has a couple of little curves that you're going to cut in it. And see, when you cut around that T, you get a little bit too close to that P, so then when you try to cut it straight, you still have that little, kind of like that little curve in there, which we don't want. I'm going to cut around that H pretty good, so it's got some detail to it. Now this Celebration Tiding stamp set, I'm going to pull it back out so you can look at it too, is great because it's good for just fall in general. It's good for Thanksgiving. It's got a little bit of, it's got a Christmas sentiment in there. And then of course just Halloween too. So it's a nice all around stamp set. So think about that when you're buying your next stamp set. All right, I'm going to flip all of these over. We will add some dimensionals to them. We're going to, like I said, use those little black dimensionals because they kind of blend in with your darker paper. Now they are just going to fit just perfectly on that sentiment happy. And then we only really need one in the center of that little bat. And we'll probably use 3 for the big bat, 1 on his body and 1 on each wing. So I had my first in-person class today that I haven't had since all of the COVID stuff has started. So I had 2 wonderful ladies came today and joined me, and We all wore masks. We used our hand sanitizer. It was a lot of fun. So I'm really glad doing that. I'm able to start having some classes in my classroom again. Now I'm going to limit it. I'm not going to have a full table full of people just because it's too many. But like I said, that was the first one I've had in 6 months at least. Because well, we've got March, April, May, June, July, August. Yeah, 6 months. So isn't that crazy? We've been doing this for 6 months. All of the mask wearing and all that stuff to keep ourselves safe. All right, add that second bat on there. And then we'll just grab a piece of Whisper White to put on the inside. And then I think I'm going to stamp that little filigree on the inside as well, because I think that would be really pretty for the inside. We'll get this in the card first and then we'll stamp it. Nothing can go wrong, right? I can just adhere it first and then stamp it. No way I'll make a mistake on that. It's all going to go great. And I will do it in Cajun Craze again because that's be nice and pretty. And I'm going to put it at the top. I'm going to kind of set that right there to hold that side down so I can get this up here. Perfect. Look at that. Oh, I need to put it at the bottom too. It's too cute. That's really adorable. And then once you write your own personal sentiment, or maybe I'll put something, another stamped sentiment on the inside later. But there you have it. That is today's One Card Wonder Wednesday. Wasn't that a good one? I love how it turned out. And the fun thing about this is you could, I guess I got my bat a little bit off there. I might have to cut his wing off just a little bit or he's not gonna fit in the envelope. Oh, sorry, little bat. I had to cut your wing off. Clip your wings. You could do this layout with lots of different sentiments and different things. It doesn't have to be Halloween. Now, I did promise you yesterday that I was going to show you really quick some little Halloween goodie things I made. Now, if you want to see these, go to my blog, stampinwithvalerie.com, and I have a post on there featuring how to make these wonderful paper cones. And you can fill them with little goodies and treats for someone. You could make them Thanksgiving if you wanted, or Christmas. But they're super easy to make, and they are just adorable and something just a little bit different than a little treat bag or whatever. But I think they're super cute. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's One Card Wonder Wednesday, and I will see you again next week. Bye.